Well, hello everyone, I'm Mads and I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we're about to discuss the James Bond of Pokemon world, aka Inteleon. This video is going to be your guide on how to use Inteleon in Pokemon Unite, where I'll be explaining all of its hidden mechanics and abilities and potentials, so without any further ado, let's dive into it. As always, first we'll take a look at some basics and statistics. Inteleon is a ranged special attacker whose main strength is its critical hit rate. Apparently, it only has 5% crit rate up till level 8 and from level 9 to 15, it's 10% crit rate. So how can a 10% critical hit rate can be a strength? We'll talk about that soon. Inteleon can also crit with all of its moves and attacks excluding Tearful Look and its upgraded choice moves. Plus, Inteleon's critical hit damage is increased by 250% instead of normal 200% increase. Inteleon also has a spell vamp of 12.5%. Now let's talk about the ability Sniper. When Inteleon is near a wall for 1 second, it becomes camouflaged and gains 1 crit counter, which can be increased up to a total of 3 counters. The second and third counter will take 3 seconds each to fill up if you're near a wall. With each attack, whether it's a basic attack or a move, 1 crit counter will be consumed and the move or attack will be a guaranteed critical hit. And now let's take a look at the basic attacks. Ranged attacks with great range, and every third attack is boosted with not only increased damage but also high critical hit rate. Now let's take a look at our first 2 moves. Let's talk about Tearful Look first. You have to target this on a designated opponent and it decreases their attack and special attack for 3 seconds by 20%. It also increases your movement speed and grants a critical counter. The other one is Water Gun, just a ranged water gun that deals damage. Now let's take a look at the upgrade choices. Our first combo of choice will be Fell Stinger at level 5 and Snipe Shot at level 7. Fell Stinger is a utility move with a 5.4 second cooldown. You hit either an enemy or a wall with your stinger. If it hits an enemy Pokemon, it does damage and grants 1 crit counter, and if it hits a wall, you basically become Spider-Man and leap towards the wall, which not only grants 1 crit counter but also lowers this move's cooldown by half. Fell Stinger gets its upgrade at level 11, which lowers this move's cooldown by 1 second. And here's the thing about Fell Stinger. As you can see, it does not go through the wall. The priority for this move is the wall, so if you're trying to hit an enemy behind a wall, it is not gonna hit the enemy but instead it's gonna hit the wall. So you have to keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at Snipe Shot. It's a long range move where you first take 1.25 seconds to charge up and then you can release your Snipe Shot or keep charging for the next 6 seconds before it's gone. If you're not charging it up and releasing it before 1.25 seconds, it will be way less accurate. It ignores half of the special defense of the Pokemon it hits. You can keep 3 uses in reserve and each use requires a 1.5 second cooldown in between. And the cooldown for this move is 7.5 seconds, which means each shot takes 2.5 seconds to charge up. The upgraded Snipe Shot at level 13 reduces cooldown for charges by 1 second, which means you can charge each shot in 1.5 seconds. Also, the farthest you are from your target, the more damage you can deal. Let me show you how. Alright, so first I'm gonna hit that target up close, and as you can see, I did around 854 damage. Now I'm gonna try and hit the target with medium range. So as you can see, I did 1089 damage. I think this is considered the farthest range because I'm dealing around 1400 damage. So I'm gonna try to hit the practice doll with the farthest range possible. And I also had a crit counter there, and the damage I dealt is 3577. We also had a crit counter there, so if we ignore that, we did around, I think, 1400 damage once again. So that is the farthest range with Inteleon. There are also some drawbacks with Snipe Shot and I will be discussing them in another video, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so next up we've got the combo of Acrobatics and Liquidation, which is my personal favorite. Acrobatics is your second choice from move number 1 at level 5, which has an 8 second cooldown. It's a gliding dash which can either be performed on an enemy or a wall. If it hits a wall, you can glide again in a designated direction and you get a crit counter. If it hits the enemy, it does damage and you're able to glide once again in a designated direction. It also grants you a crit counter, plus it lowers their movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds. You can also use this move while using Liquidation. The upgrade to Acrobatics increases the first glide's travel distance. So as you can see, you can't really go through the walls with this move, but you can actually go over a wall with your follow-up glide. At level 7, your second move choice is Liquidation with 6.5 second cooldown. When Liquidation is locked onto a target, it's gonna be a guaranteed hit which shoots 8 bullets in 1.7 seconds. If another Pokemon comes in the way of your targeted Pokemon, then they're gonna take the damage instead of the target. And if 5 bullets hit the same Pokemon, Inteleon will deal 20% extra damage to that Pokemon for 3 seconds. At level 13, the upgraded Liquidation shoots 10 bullets instead of 8. If you take a close look at that practice doll, you can see that it's dripping in sweat. This is actually the debuff effect that makes Inteleon do 20% extra damage to that Pokemon. So in simple terms, if you're shooting 8 bullets on a target, if your first 5 bullets hit the same Pokemon, this debuff effect is gonna take place on that specific target. And your next 3 bullets are gonna deal 20% extra damage. Not only that, if that Pokemon is still under that debuff effect, your basic attacks or your other move is also gonna do 20% extra damage. Lastly, we got the Unite move as your Spy Vision. For 10.5 seconds, Inteleon can see any Pokemon, whether it's hidden in tall grass or in camouflage. During that time, Inteleon's critical hit rate also doubles, and it also gains 1 crit counter with each passing second. Unite buffs include 20% max HP shield, 30% movement speed increase, and 35% extra attack speed. So let's talk about the items. The only viable items for this Pokemon seems to be Slick Spoon, Choice Packs, and Scope Lens. Slick Spoon and Scope Lens are a must in my opinion, because Slick Spoon is very obvious and Scope Lens gives us those extra damage numbers with our critical hits since we crit a lot with this Pokemon. You shouldn't stack with this Pokemon since it's not only extremely difficult and risky, but also it has almost no value. Just stick with either of the classes depending on your personal preference. And as always, you should always run an eject button on squishy Pokemons. So that was everything you needed to learn about this Pokemon. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as I'll be back with more interesting videos related to Inteleon in the coming days. So until then, take care.